What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today with another market watch. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The Fabled from the new set High Seas is $370, cheapest copy on the market. Absolutely insane. I really wish they would have made this a pirate card or something. But hey, I'm just here to report the prices. Again, cheapest copy, $370. I don't think it's actually going to go down too much. It's going to be quite some time before a hero like Gravy Bones rotates, thanks to the new LL system, right? It's probably going to be at least 2 years until these high seas heroes rotate. And that's obviously driving the price up quite a bit, but also it's a generic, right? Kasai wants to play this, Victor wants to play this. I could even see worlds in which weird heroes want to play this, right? Maybe like Bolton wants to play a card like this. I'm not quite sure on that last one, but either way, what I'm getting at is it's a super diverse card, right? It being a generic resource just obviously opens the doors to so much stuff. I can't imagine this price would go down a lot. The only things I could imagine pushing it down is like, yeah, Gravy rotating, which is going to be a couple years, or maybe like a huge high seas reprint, a second wave. But even then, I can't imagine it's going to go too much lower. So if you're going to get it, I just recommend not trying to play the market, not trying to wait a long time and see if it gets reprinted here or there or whatever. Don't try and wait and see if it'll cool off. I don't think it's going to cool off. I think unfortunately it's just going to keep going up. Cheapest copy, $370. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't imagine a world in which this card goes down. Moving on, Crown of Dominion, the Marvel Crown of Dominion, $450. Sheesh. This is the one from Dynasty. Again, a lot of Gravy hype, a lot of high seas hype. That's obviously the theme of this market watch here. I think this one will come down quite a bit as players start to drop Gravy Bones. I think it's going to be just like Jarl. Everyone wants to play Jarl week one, but then people play it, particularly new players play it, and they grind it a little bit, and then they realize they're not built for that game plan. Allies and Guardians and things like this, it's a very, I won't say niche community, but like you gotta be someone who enjoys that kind of thing. It's not going to appeal to just everyone. I guess that's kind of true for all heroes in Fab, but just this amount of Gravy players that are currently existing can't continue. Like half the players are playing Gravy. That just can't possibly continue. Not everyone's gonna like it. So yeah, I expect cards like this to fall a little bit as players start to drop Gravy Bones. Same could be said for the regular Crown of Dominion. Cheapest regular Crown of Dominion is 180, and the cheapest cold foil is 206. I thought that was interesting. If you're gonna get it, you might as well get the cold foil, just $20 more. Both cards are still insanely expensive though, so if you're not dying to play Gravy right this second, I would wait until the end of national season on all of these cards and just see where the prices lie for all of them, because I can almost certainly say that these things will all go down as Nat season comes to an end. Moving on, Uzuri Switchblade. This is the Marvel Uzuri from Gem Pack 1. Cheapest copy on the market that's not damaged is $71. I bring this up because it's week 1 for Gem Pack 2, and everyone is overvaluing all of the cards in the Gem Pack, trying to sell them for very inflated prices. I've seen people trying to sell the Marvel Riptide for like $150, $200. Absolutely crazy. I imagine Marvel Riptide will fall somewhere very close to in line with this Uzuri. I think Uzuri's probably a better hero, but closer to LL. So maybe because she's closer to LL, the price of Riptide could be a little higher, like 80 or something. But I would not be paying $150, $200 for a Riptide. That's just insane. Yeah, just be smart with it. Same goes for all the Gem Pack cards. If we just pull up Gem Pack 1 here, like, you guys remember the week 1 prices? Like Mark of the Black Widow, this is $4 now. It was like $20, $25 on release week. Same with Demonstrate Devotion, it's $1.50. Release week, it was like $20. I remember I sold a Calming Breeze for $25. Now it's $4. So just keep in mind, like all the Gem Pack stuff too, all the Gem Pack 2 stuff is going to start to look like the Gem Pack 1 stuff eventually. Of course, it's going to take some time. Every week, there's going to be more and more cards in the pool. and the price will come down more and more every week. So just keep your eye on it, and don't overpay for the Gem Pack 2 stuff. I don't think it's worth it, but I do think it's worth it to show up to your locals. Say you're a big Marlin guy. Show up to your locals and sell all the Gem Pack pools that aren't Marlin related. I think there's some good money to be made there, and obviously the cards are sick. So yeah, get your Gem Packs, go to locals, go to armories. Moving on, Dragon Scalar Flight Path. Cheapest cold foil on the market is $90. Cheapest rainbow foil on the market is like $50. I bring this up because, do you guys remember just a couple months ago, Dragon Scalar Flight Path was $100 and the cold foil was like $200. It's like literally come down 50% since the last time we talked about it. You could go back on this channel, we talked about it like maybe 1 or 2 videos ago. But anyway, Dragon Scalar Flight Path is going to have a very similar fate, or other cards are going to have a similar fate to Dragon Scalar Flight Path. So cards like Crown of Dominion or Dead Threads or something like that. As new cards come out, people want to play with the new toys. People realize Syndra's not for me, Gravy Bone's not for me. The cards are going to come down quite a bit. It's just new card hype. It's always going to be a new card hype tax to pay in TCGs, and Flesh and Blood is definitely no different. And it's literally just because Syndra's not new anymore, right? She's still performing. She's still one of the best decks in the game. She's still in top right now in Bologna. Still a very powerful deck. Just won AGE. I don't think she topped Nats, but yeah, still objectively a very powerful deck. Yeah, I expect all of the Gravy Bones stuff to fall in a very similar fashion. And yeah, if you're a Syndra player, hey, or if you ever considered playing Syndra, it's on sale. Everything's on sale. Even the Gem Pack EAs are all on sale. If you're a Syndra player, it may be time to bling out the deck, or if you're a player interested in Syndra, everything is on sale right now. It's all super cheap. Moving on, Warmonger's Diplomacy. I think it is very cheap right now. Cheapest copy on the market is $70. I say very cheap. That's not cheap at all for a piece of cardboard that most of the time you're just blocking with, right? But it is, you know, we all know it used to be like $100, $120 for this card. I actually do say it's cheap with a very important caveat. LSS has this new model, it seems, where they're reprinting things in the expansion slots of every set to kind of mitigate the price pain point for new players. We have like an explosion of new players. And I think that's actually a very good way to do it. Just keep leaking cards, just keep reprinting one at a time in every set, like the most in-demand card or the most relevant, super expensive card for that set, like Codex, I think was a very good pick. And I think Warmongers could be a pick in the future. Like if you think about like what cards need to be reprinted, I can't think of much more other than Warmongers, maybe Balance of Justice. But yeah, there's not too many that are like immediately obvious, right? Like the immediately obvious ones were, oh yeah, CNC needs a reprint, Codex definitely needs a reprint. What's after that? It's starting to be like maybe Warmongers. I think this is on the chopping block for a reprint relatively soon. Moving on, Compass of Sunken Depths. Gem Pack 2. Cold foil is $80 again. We just went on about Gem Packs. If you're going to locals, you're not a Gravy Bones guy, and you pull a Gem Pack, easy money. Get out to your locals and start cracking these things open. Crazy prices. Like everywhere is just crazy. These are the non-foil prices. Look, Heave Ho, $20 non-foil. Red Spine Manta. I've never seen anyone play this card. $30. Crazy stuff. So yeah, definitely worth it. Get out to your locals and easy money. You know what I'm saying? Moving on. Oasis Respite. Red, the alt art Oasis Respite. It's come down quite a bit. Cheapest copy on the market is $42. I know it's not like the powerhouse it once was, but I still think Oasis Respite is one of those cards that's always going to have its meta. It's always going to come in and out of the meta as certain strategies or certain archetypes are good, right? Maybe if Tunic is good and Kano is good at the same time, then you can use your Tunic to Oasis. You know what I mean? I don't need to explain Oasis. You guys all know how good this card is. Cheapest copy on the market is $42. I think it's a very good pickup for that gorgeous alt art there. Moving on, Call to the Grave, the Armory deck Gravy Bones Call to the Grave. $40 after shipping. Actually insane, and there's only one of it up here. So if your store has any Gravy Bones Armory decks on the shelf, you could probably come close to breaking even off just the Call to the Grave. So great pickup there for the Armory Gravy Bones decks if it's at your locals. Moving on, Whaler Humperdinck, cheapest copy on the market, $21. This is actually just insane. This is like super giga inflated. Gravy is a bubble that will pop because there's no way. This is a majestic playable in exactly one hero. High Seas is so comparable to MST. Like it's almost a direct comparison. MST to High Seas. It's a set with 3 heroes that are all bound together with a talent, right? So the talent cards, right? Like if you think of the new Conqueror of the High Seas is directly comparable to something like Levels of Enlightenment. The new Gold Baited Hook is directly comparable to something like, what's the headpiece? Traverse the Universe. And that's the way I've been looking at High Seas is just MST2. And I've been thinking about every card through that lens. So if you're looking at it through that lens, then what's Whaler Humperdinck? It's Manifestations of Mirage. How is this $20, bro? There's no way. What majestic in the entire game is this expensive and only playable in specifically one hero? I don't think there's any majestic in the game that is this expensive, that is just playable in one hero. This is super inflated. If you're not looking to play Gravy like this weekend or next weekend, just wait. This stuff is all going to come down so much. There's no way that this stays. This is crazy. Maybe it's because of the product shortage or something like that. And yeah, you could definitely make an argument for that. Like the product shortage is making things more expensive. But if you look at the set, it's actually not. Because Polycrank is still $30. Like there's so many cards that are like Codex of Frailty is only $40. Conqueror of the High Seas is only $40. Like there's so many cards that's like kind of don't indicate that to be true. It's not expensive just because of low supply. So I'm not really sure. Maybe something weird is going on. Maybe Conqueror of the High Seas was overprinted and something like Whaler Humperdinck was underprinted. Maybe it's because this card didn't come foil, so you don't have a chance to pull it in the foil slot. So there's like slightly less of them. Either way, I think that this price is probably too expensive. I think it's going to come down quite a bit. I would wait on it if you at all could. Moving on, Death Dealer. This is a very early on promo card. $75 for the cheapest copy of Death Dealer. Gone up quite a bit. And, it used to be like $20 for the longest time. And then, it's just jumped up recently because of Marlin. I just want to remind everyone that once Azalea hits LL, Death Dealer will be gone. So spend your money wisely. Azalea is like, 1 or 2, maybe 3 national wins away from LLing. She's not going to be around that much longer. So, just spend your money wisely. Moving on. Diamond Amulet. This is actually the reason I made the market watch. I opened my phone and looked. I'm like, what? All right, I need to make a video. This is insanity. This is crazy. Cheapest copy on the market, $86. So let's talk about it. Obviously, it is printed less frequently than all of the other Majestics. Not all of them. But because of the legendary keyword where you can only play one of it in your deck, it's intentionally printed less, right? Which makes perfect sense. Because if you need 3 Whaler Humperdinck in your deck and you need 1 Diamond Amulet in your deck because that's all you could play, why would it ever make sense to print them at the same rate? It wouldn't. So you print Diamond Amulet 3 times more rare than Whaler Humperdinck, which if everyone was a Gravy player, that would be completely fine. But since Diamond Amulet and all of the amulets for that matter are good in all of the decks, not all of the decks, but there's multiple decks, right? That kind of pushes it up a little bit and kind of messes up that math a little bit. All of the amulets are printed less because they're all have that legendary key tag. Diamond Amulet just seems like the best one, so that's why it's spiking the hardest. But I think there is probably some undervalued amulets out there. Let's talk about some of them. So the Punamu amulet. You guys are going to roast me for that pronunciation. I'm certain of it. that's got to be wrong. But yeah, obviously Verdant's just won U.S. Nationals. So this one's also going to be hyped. Cheapest copy on the market is $46 for that. But something like Ruby Amulet, this actually might be the best amulet. It's just not, it doesn't have like the spotlight on it right this very second. But if you look at the number of listings, it's super low. And then more heroes probably want to play this than Diamond Amulet, I imagine. Like if you're a Kano, you're going to play Ruby Amulet and not Diamond Amulet. There's worlds where Gravy plays Ruby and not Diamond. No, that's not true. That's not true. Definitely not Gravy. But there's worlds where other heroes play Ruby Amulet and not Diamond Amulet. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I think this one's probably a little bit undervalued. I think a lot of the amulets are actually undervalued. Let's take a look here. Yeah, like the Sapphire Amulet seems like it could be good. Gaining an intellect seems like it could be very good in certain decks. The Opal Amulet and the Amethyst Amulet, all of this stuff, like since it's so rare because that legendary key tag, I think a lot of it is pretty undervalued, honestly. There are still some undervalued things in high seas, and I think, yeah, Ruby Amulet's probably one. I imagine this card goes crazy just like Diamond Amulet does here shortly. Moving on, Arcane Compliance. Cheapest copy on the market is $6. Probably another undervalued one. Like, I get it's just a side deck card or whatever, but you know what else is just a side deck card is Snag. And you know what else was just a side deck card when it came out was Warmongers. That all you got. Like, there's plenty of expensive cards that are just a side deck card. And the cheapest Arcane Compliance, again, $6.44. The Rainbow Foil is $22. I would recommend just picking up the regular since the price is so, the differential is just so crazy. But yeah, I think this one's also undervalued. Same with Sunken Treasure. Sunken Treasure is just a pirate card, so playable in 3 heroes, which that alone to me should make it more expensive than Whaler Humperdinck. But what do I know? I think Sunken Treasure, very good card. Like, I get you don't want to turn your own stuff face down, but if it's a yellow card you're not going to use, like if it's a yellow Golden Tipple or if it's a yellow like Loan Shark or something like that, turn it face down, get a free gold. So you block 3, make a gold. This is like a, what's it called? Test of Strength, except you don't have to win a clash, and it's blue. So I don't know. This card to me is like actually crazy. I think it's super undervalued right now. Moving on, Prismatic Layline. Here's another card you could turn face down in Gravy and feel good about it. Prismatic Layline is actually just kind of a good card in Gravy. It just fills so many roles. It's a block 3. You play a lot of yellow. You play a lot of yellow attacks, obviously because of your allies, but you play a lot of blue attacks like the, what's it called, Saltwater Swell, and just like Murderous Rabble, like a lot of blue go again attacks. So there's plenty of times you can get 5 value pretty consistently out of Prismatic Layline. And if it's a hand where you can't, you can discard it to, what's that card called? Tip the Tipple or something like that. You know the card I'm talking about, the 1 for 3. So yeah, it's just very good glue, and it blocks 3. Cheapest copy on the market is $10. Yeah, gone up quite a little bit here. It used to be like $5-6, but I still think it's worth it. Last card I want to talk about is Midas Touch. Cheapest Midas Touch on the market is $14. Can I finish this chicken? Stop. Cheapest copy on the market is $14, and it's actually worth mentioning with this card. Obviously, Gravy Bones it's good against. Obviously, we don't need to talk about that. But there has been a lot of talk of Dromai returning. Dromai, of course, uses a lot of allies, and probably can't make as much use out of the gold tokens as Gravy Bones can, so the downside is kind of mitigated against her a little bit. So yeah, I think this is probably not only just like good against Gravy Bones, but potentially a safe future investment in general, just because of how good it will be against Dromai as well. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and help the algorithm help me out just a little bit later, gamers.